3.5-hour workshop. And the aim of it is that it touches on all of the legal topics. So when we talk about educating our people and compliance, it's not just around sexual harassment, but of course that's the big focus at the moment, but it's also around discrimination, bullying and everything else that fits in anywhere in between that. Whenever the puppet speaks, it's normally the puppet's internal voice speaking.
Morning, my name is Riley. Deodorant, need to start the day fresh.
Oh boss, I'm late for the bus!
Confidential. Sure.
I want you to have a conversation around boundaries related to work and also phone calls on bus and what might be the concern around that. What was he doing late last night? Checking emails. Who checks emails late at night? Yeah, I do too, by the way. So, you know, some of you have probably heard about this new piece of legislation, the right to disconnect. I think that piece of legislation is completely has come into existence hand in hand with the whole other piece, our code of practice called psychosocial hazards. So I made this not negotiables because the whole idea was can't argue about them, Franca, just got to do them. And the last one is hang out with people that bring you joy. I used to write hang out with good people and someone thought it morally good people. But the danger for us is that when life gets busy at work, what do we do about those things? The opposite. Here's the other thing though. We know that Riley's a manager. Now, managers have an extra duty of care to provide a safe workplace. Do you think Riley realises? Most managers that I run training for don't realise. Riley's about to step into the team's meeting, which we should know enough to go, oh, now that's going to go with Sam and Bill and all that kind of stuff. Especially now that Riley's invited Bill to the meeting. Do we want to listen in to how that team's meeting goes?
He's made a lot of stupid mistakes. He's not competent. Oh, he's in the waiting room.
Oh, hey everyone, sorry, but I'm here now.
Bill, your sound's cutting out.
I think the blame lies with the idiot who decided to purchase that model of bike.
We don't need to look at blame and who's responsible. I'd like to remove the word blame from this conversation. You've got something you want to say, Bill? You're still on mute. And Sam, can you sort that?
Oh no, sorry, it's jammed.
I don't know if I'd say it was bullying though, that's a bit harsh. But what can I do about it? I could get them both in a room, but I can just imagine that.
Why are you so rude?
I own chicken smarter than you.
Riley doesn't think that behaviour is bullying. Let's see if the collective wisdom in this room has a different opinion. Bullying comes under our safety laws, so WA we've got a code of practice on workplace behaviours. Bullying is defined in that, but it also comes under our federal, so it also comes under the Fair Work Act. And in the WA Industrial Relations, they've also got it as well. So the definition's the same in all of them. It's got to be repeated behaviour. So what they're really looking for there is some kind of well, it's got to be definitely more than once, but they're looking for some kind of pattern. Unreasonable conduct. And so there's some really obvious examples of unreasonable conduct. So hitting, yelling, screaming, kicking, name calling, putting someone down, shouting at them. And then there's a whole lot of what we call more subtle types of unreasonable behaviour. So exclusion, sabotaging someone's ability to do their job, talking about them, not providing them with enough information, overworking, underworking. And then the last part of the definition, which is why it comes under our safety space, so all of the behaviours under safety create a risk to health and safety. Of course, we now know that that risk is not just physical, but it can be psychological as well. He didn't manage that well. We all don't manage things well sometimes, right? That's called life. What would you like him to do now? There's a script we teach people when we run this as a full half-day workshop called the I've noticed script. And in that script, the whole idea is to have a curious, non-judgmental conversation. What about for Carla, as a bystander? What could Carla do after that meeting? After, when our brains kick in and we sort of process and go, gee, that wasn't okay, then there's a couple of things that Carla could do after. So she could go and have a support conversation with Bill.
Carla came to me a few months ago and told me that she's having some personal issues. As soon as she said personal, I thought, oh, better not ask. It's a minefield, menopause, hormonal changes.
I need to talk to you about Carla. Next thing you know, she's grabbed some wet ones, wiping it down like I'm contaminated or something. I mean, what's that about?
Have you seen Carla?
Do you mean today?
Yeah, today. Specifically about all the weird things she's been doing. She was in the staff kitchen cleaning it. And I don't mean cleaning like washing a cup in the sink. She was in there with these elbow-length gloves on, a face mask, and a bottle of disinfectant spray. She had taken everything out of the fridge, the food, and people's containers that they were in, and throwing them in the bin.
Carla, come on in.
A few months ago, I was diagnosed with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's where I get these really obsessive thoughts, and they're incredibly intense, and they just go round and round in my head, and it gets so bad it makes me have to do things.
I see. So that's the personal issue you mentioned a few months ago. Carla, you can't do that. And the wet ones. You can't be going around wiping everything. Well, May came in this morning and said you wiped a stapler she picked up. Made it look like she was dirty or something. You want to keep on working here. You're going to have to get a handle on these behaviours and stop doing them at work.
How do you think he went in that conversation? What did he do well?
When did it start to decline?
And what are your concerns? What we can say is that behaviour, in terms of what Riley said to her, was discrimination. So treating someone less favourably because of a protected category. We've got a range of protected categories. These are the most common. Disability is actually the #1 complaint.
I have to have a conversation with George today. He's been coming to work distracted and lacking motivation. I have been putting this off for 1 month. You've been here a while. You know what you're doing.
This is the list. So under our WA Code of Practice on psychosocial hazards, they identify 20 different behaviours that would fit within the space of a psychosocial hazard. Our safety laws say that there's 4 things that we need to be doing to minimise safety issues. It's coming close to the end of Riley's work, but as is sometimes the case, we do leave sometimes the most difficult conversations to last.
I've got to talk to Mandy, but I don't want to upset her. She brings in the best cakes and treats for people, really caring, but not great at her actual job role.
I need to speak with you about your work performance and a few other things that have come to my attention over the last month.
Oh, I don't need to be singled out for special attention.
Seeing that you are struggling and not managing to fulfill your role as described by your JDF, what can I do to help you get back up to speed?
It's not surprising that we got that response from Mandy, right? Because she actually wasn't clear about what was going to happen. Reasonable performance management, carried out in a reasonable way, is not bullying. Did Riley do anything that was disrespectful or unprofessional? And I'm going to say no. Is Riley a clunky communicator? Yes. So much of that conversation is about in the delivery of it. Riley is about ready to go to bed, so we are going to say goodbye.
How about a lullaby?
All right then, get into bed.
2, 3, 4.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Oh, I should really check that one email!
Look on the right side of life.
That's what we try and do, is to kind of reconnect the disconnect, and we use that by using theatre, plays and humour. Generally the plays get incorporated into a half-day session, and so we do the play for about 1 hour and 3/4, apart from Riley. So Riley's 3.5 hours because it does all of the legal definitions. So by the end of that half day, your people know what all the unlawful behaviours are. They also know what are their options. So if it's happening to them, what can they do? If they're a bystander, how can they become an active upstander? And what are the support structures in your workplace? So the way that we do it is that we meet with you, we talk with you, we find out what works in your workplace and what the issues are. We then customise those scenarios to reflect your workplace, your environment and what's happening. We run the training, we do a whole lot of feedback, and then in addition to that, we provide you with a whole lot of support services. So both safety and the new Respect at Work Positive Duty guidelines have made it really clear that a dump and run approach to training is no longer enough.